Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science or Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're going to talk about VFX of glowing things. So let's dive right into it. Now, first thing you have to understand, what exactly is the problem? The problem is that light speed is the fastest thing in this world, meaning if you have any scene, let's say that scene, even if it happens in slow motion, let's say you have a boom device going there and going boom, here's the sound effect, the shock wave, the particle effect, all these things will take time. Light? No. Light is just like a flash. So that creates a scenario, meaning in one frame, artist has to go from a dark scene to paint everything like it's a broad daylight, then go back to dark again. It's tedious and almost impossible to do because of the speed. And it has another side effect. It casts its own shadow and reflection. For example, there was a very amazing event in Russia back in the day, is that the meteorite came in. Now here's it was broad daylight, as in like early morning kind of daylight, and the meteorite came. It became so bright because again it was burning in the atmosphere. It casted shadow in broad daylight over a large area. So you have to understand, if you're showing any boom effects, you have to put that into account. Otherwise, it will look super duper hyper fake. It's like, hey, why the heck lights are not reacting? That's why. Like many times you can say, like, that's a fake CG. That's the problem. Light reacts instantaneously, casts its own shadow and reflections. God help you. Like CGI artists, like if you want to give CGI artist blood pressure, you give them a scene that has glass in it. They will just find the nearest dynamite supplier for you personally. They will personally go and find dynamite for you. So you have to understand. Now add lighting to it. It's like, yeah, that's not happening. And all of this happens instantaneously, meaning if you have any scene where it's like going pew pew pew, all that pew 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 has to be reflected instantaneously, meaning one frame, instead of being rendered normally, it has to be painstakingly drawn, like, okay, light is here, light is here, light is here, light is here. That's very, very tedious. And if you do not do it properly, it will look obviously fake. For example, this is from a scene system, but that's a giant glowing energy there. This person is barely visible. How the heck that's possible that you can have something that glowing? And again, this whole area is not casting any, not receiving any light. It flat out looks fake. It flat out looks cheap. It's like Control-C, Control-V light effect here. It's like very bad, and it ruins the immersion, especially if light effects are very personal, up close and personal. You have to put effort into there, especially if it has to do anything with faces. Like you can do this sort of effects with Captain America setting on fire, but you have to get that point. Like at some point it starts to look very, very, very fake. And problem with VFX artists is that everybody loves glowing things. So we are like, let's make things glow. Let's make a single sword glow 2 side extra more. So all this for LED light, of course, they had to do it. Heck, back in the day, before LEDs were invented, Star Wars original series, they still had lights there. They had to add it. But there was no way of doing it post. Still, there is no way of doing it in post. You can add to it. You can add glow to it. You can add what we call bloom to it, but you can't add inherent light to it. The suit, the cloth, the environment, they will not react accordingly. So that's the problem with it. So here's the deal. CGI has this one core conundrum. Not conundrum, as like core logistic. Logistic is add it on. You want to add things onto CGI, they're like, shut up and take my money. It's gonna make it awesome. You want to remove things, that's hell of a hassle. So that's the whole thing. So when we are talking about lights have its light reflection, shadow, casting, and the biggest problem why you can't just paint it on, it has 3D environment effect. For example, this is a scene where you have light going hulululu here. Now here's the, why the heck this house is dark? Why the heck this ground is not casting any shadow? Again, because this was done as a post-processing where there's somebody poor artist put a layer there. Again, I'm not blaming the artist, I'm blaming the system, because they may be like, can you do this in 5 seconds? Like, no. It's not gonna do that, because again it will look fake. They have to just add a layer, opacity, glow. Again, I'm just like simplifying it, but inherently that's all they can do. They will not get that 3D effect of light. Light is 3D. For example, let's say this is suit. Now the light turns on. That face interacts it like this. Why this interaction is there? Because light has what we call inverse square law. Meaning here it's much brighter compared to here, and this is 3-dimensional. Now you have a light source here and no physical light. So you're doing in VFX, it's gonna look fake AF. Like really, really fake AF. So you can't paint it in post-processing. You can enhance it, settle it down, that's up to you. But you cannot just magically add it. This is one critical aspect of it. So to get that, like even in this movie itself, the Brahmāstra itself, they had a scene where like climax scene. In the climax scene, they're shooting it properly. Like there's supposed to be a fire ring around the character. So they're like, let's put a proper light there, properly run animations there. And that creates a true effect. That true effect you cannot fake in VFX. Now you have true effects. Now you add stuff to in post. awesome. That looks awesome. But then you have this scene. It's like, how could they have done this scene? Here's the deal. Have a main action plate, a clean plate, then have a drone plate that moves around the light. And again, at that point in time, they can do multiple animation. Run it on what we call a longer exposure, so you get far more light casting. Again, inherently, if you want to have that much light, it will be very high, a lot of kilowatts of power. But you can increase the shutter speed because you already have the motion data. All you want, the color data, light reflection data. You can have a much basically higher ISO and as long shutter speed as possible. Then you will have gotten that actual casting data. That casting data, if you give that to VFX artists, like these two scene, marry that data, they're like, I got you back. So it could have been done. And back in the days, and like back in the Star Wars days, that was very difficult. Again, there was no LED. Nowadays it's there, it's cheap, it's possible. Like, you can paint this character out, you can paint a CGI model there with flame effects, but here's the deal, you never have to worry about how the heck light is going to interact with things around it. Meaning, if there is another character, that character is already receiving appropriate physical light. And these LEDs are also cheap. Now be mindful, if you ever have to do this with white LEDs, yeah, that will be very expensive. LEDs that are what we call high CRI and true spectrum reflection, those are very expensive, undeniably so. But again, if you are talking about monochromatic, like one color, that's super easy. That's like jump change. So you're doing this, like blue color is very cheap, red color is the cheapest. And you can get this, and player will not get hot, person will not get hot. So many times stuntmen will also do this, something like this. And again, you cannot fake this. No matter what you do in VFX, you can paint him out, all that jazz, but you cannot recreate his reflection. That's why even in movies like Ghost Rider, even though they paint his whole face out, they still will put LEDs around him so he can get that cast data in broad daylight. So they can figure out how the leather is reacting. That data, VFX artists will study it and then enhance it. So that's the whole point. CG, add it on, no problem. Remove it, nah, no. If you make fake lighting, yeah, it will look fake. So it all comes down to effort, and that's all there is to it. It's not like back in the days we used to put magic into the movie. Now we do not have magic there. No, it's not like that. It simply comes down to effort. Garbage in, garbage out. Because of the poor understanding of VFX world, many directors, they think like we shoot a scene and that's it, done. VFX will sort it out. No. And you must have noticed that many low budget movies, many indie movies have amazingly good CGI that you're like, damn, how the heck you did that? Because they put effort before it went to the CGI layer. They made sure garbage was not going in. That's why they had like good in, good out. While many large production out there have garbage in, garbage out. And they're like, oh, we spent so much money and still looks garbage. That's the reason. Effort shows in the final shot. For example, this is Doctor Strange portal effect. Now here's the deal. Why the heck they spent so much money building a LED ring? Here's the deal. Let's put money in context. Getting Benedict Cumberbatch there for few minutes is more than enough that you're like, bro, if I can afford that, LEDs, there is no LED in this world that is that expensive. Okay, let that be clear. That is, there is no LED. So okay, we got the cost. Now you put effort into making a tube, acrylic tube probably. You put LED inside it, and then you have a controller LED. The strip is controlled, so it has that effect of going brighten and shadow. Now why the heck bother with that? Here's the deal. You notice this area, it has metal, shiny metals, and it's reacting to it. That like glow light going up and down. So if they had basically a static system, it will just cast a basic glow. Again, still would be much better than not having it. But if we are talking about latest technology, we have LEDs, we have controllers. Nowadays you can even have RGB, individually addressed LED strips, where every LED can be controlled itself. So you can have effect. Now effect of that flashing here that's happening, that light is going there, it's there in the metal, in the reflection, in the paint can, in the walls. That will not be replicated in CGI, no matter how much money you spent on it. Like for example, Wonder Woman, like she has that lasso. Lasso is interacting with her clothes. It has casting a light there. Now, if you have actual light, the CGI artist's job is like, oh, this is what it's supposed to look like. Let me fine tune. Of course, the rope is surprisingly sloppy here, but I'm pretty sure the reason is that the strip is not holding any weight. There's an actual cable there for the stunt, and the LED is hanging onto it. That's why it's very sloppy. But again, stratifying that, making it tight, super easy. But if they have the light reflection, how the heck her hand is the critical part, because this area will be glowing, and again skin has some transparency to it, that will also interact it. All that data you give this to VFX will let me make some magic for you. That's the whole point. You cannot bypass this. You give good in, good out. You do not give good in, many scenes, again for artistic reason you may not want to. Like some of the Wonder Woman's original movie scenes, they hand painted everything. They wanted that artistic feel. Again, it does look a bit more cheesy. Again, I would not say bad, but it does look cheesy. And I'm pretty sure if you pay attention to it, you will figure out, okay, this is hand painted. It looks like too much, too much. But again, that's up to you. That's an artistic choice, and you want that. Good in, good out. Same thing. Like, think about this. Like, they could do this VFX, and any novice will think, hey, I can do that in VFX. Experience is like, bro, give me a set, put a goddamn LED, put a goddamn LED controller there, give me that clean plate with that VF light plate, then only I'm gonna do it. So that's the whole point. Effort. There is no shortcut here. They could have easily reduced the cost, reduced the time of the shoot, but the output would have been garbage. It would have looked like, if you ever notice, like majority of new modern Marvel movies look really bland, does not have that same effort. Yeah, because back in the days when Iron Man 1 was built, they put so much effort in. They actually built the whole suit. That's how they knew how the suit reflection will work, because they had a suit to do what we call, like, actual data. Oh, this is a suit. This is how it's reflecting. This is the red color. This is the red color in different lights. So that's the whole point. Put the damn LEDs there. So I'll want to talk about my personal example where this effect was done to the awesome level. Watchmen. So in Watchmen, there is Dr. Manhattan. Let's not talk about the story. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it. That's completely fair. But as an artist, as a technician, as a like, hey, this is a tool. How did they do it? How much they utilized it? And I've linked the original video down below. Dr. Manhattan is always glowing. Whenever he's in the scene, it's always glowing. Now this scene is quite amazing because here's the scene. He pops in. He's like, I teleport. Poof. I'm here, and he's like, the director is like, bro, you should have told me he already came in. It's like, he's bright, he's too bright. We have to tone it down, and he tones himself down. It's like, oh, I'm gonna, tone myself down. It's like, okay, how the heck you do that in post? You don't. You just have the LED controller there. It's like, okay, full brightness scene, full brightness. Now when he takes the dialogue, tone down the brightness. Everybody else has, even their eye. Be mindful, their eyes are reflective. Their eyes literally have toned down reflection now. Try that in CGI. I dare you. I double dare you. Now be mindful, there is a way of doing that in CGI. It's just that you remove everything. You make everything in post. That's nowadays. And if you ever wondered why modern Marvels look garbage, that's the whole point. Many times they're just replacing everything. Even the actresses, they are like, yeah, just put a CG comp there. That's why. In that way, you can render it out, but it's CG. And again, there was clone of him too. For example, he's a dude, and you can see there are multiple clone dudes, and they also have LED. Why? So this scene can be done. Now what they did is, like, they have lights there. That is the what you call light plate. That light plate data is put into the system. They paint him out. They put a 3D model there. Again, they only do to remove this LEDs and all that. That's all they are doing. They're removing it. And again, if they have to overpaint on something, they know what it's supposed to look like, and things around them does not change. So it looks inherently good. And what this bloom effect is, just they are enhancing a slider. They are catching a slider. It's like, bloom, go up, done. It looks authentic. And screens around that, glass around it, none of them have any issue. And what if, like, let's say a glass is showing individual LEDs? No problem. Put a mask there, blurify, done, go home. That's how much effort they put, like, just to make sure. And this is a big ass balloon there, which was a big light. Why the heck they bothered with that? Here's the Dr. Manhattan can grow to large size. In the reactor room scene, where he's like, I'm working on a reactor, he's like 20 foot tall. Here's the, how do you make sure that somebody can make eye contact with 20 foot tall? You have to put something there. So they put this balloon there. So each actor, Rorschach basically, is interacting with that bulb there. Now that bulb is casting light. So that gives two advantages. First, every actor and actresses around there, they're like, okay, this is what I'm looking at. So eye line matches, awesome. Then it's casting light, so everybody's shadow matches. All they have to do is paint on top of it. Done. I told you, adding things to see basically plates, basically 3D plates, super easy. Removing is hard. They just add it. Lighting is there, reflections are there, no problem. And this was done in 2009, goddammit. Like, whether you like the movie or not, I can guarantee you, like, I have 4K copy. This TV is 4K OLED. So I can guarantee you, you will never doubt that Manhattan has, like, any bad effects. So, like, damn good. The amount of effort they put into making sure Manhattan is done properly. Be mindful, we have 10 times more powerful computer. Not even 10, I think 25 times more powerful computer now, as in like 2020s. And it's like there's still rarely any movie that goes to this effort. And you can see that in Final. Like, there was a TV show, and like, oh, they do not have the budget. Again, LEDs are cheap. LEDs are cheap. Composition effects, they are cheap nowadays. Like, most of things can be done on software, and not to mention, if you give a good data to a software will do a better job. So that's why I really wanted to share this exact movie, because they had a glowing character. How do you have a glowing character? You just put a glowing stick on it. It was amazing. Like from a technical standpoint, the amount of effort they put, and be mindful, this is early, like 2007 or to 8, they must have done all the shooting. So that means LEDs were kind of early on back then, especially the controllers. They had a like a car fob acting. It's like, he starts glowing, turns off. It's funny. So I would urge you to watch that video. You will learn a lot. And trust me, put magic before the camera, then the camera can enhance the magic. If you do not do that, God help you. It's gonna look cheap. So this was my presentation on how do you do VFX for lighting things or glowy things. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.